Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Well, we're going to share the screen. Okay, there we are. Dance and the Spiritual Path. Publisher's Desk, Dance and the Spiritual Path. What could success in the fine arts possibly have to do with progress in our religious life? It's a Publisher's Desk from July 2016. Gurudeva had the gift of bringing down to earth in a practical way the guidelines for becoming a more spiritual person. It is easy to talk high philosophy in Hinduism. Man is God, we are divine, and so forth. It's easy to say profound things such as you are a being that has unlimited power within you. However, to put these principles into practice, to the extent that we really are a more spiritual person this year than we were a year ago, that is the challenge. And that is what we will explore in this Publisher's Desk. The ability to help us with that is part of Gurudeva's genius. He gives us high philosophy along with pragmatic guidelines, and in the process keeps us feeling good about ourselves. He never took the approach that we have weaknesses and failings and therefore are imperfect. He makes the opposite point. We are divine beings, meaning we are the soul or spiritual being. However, we also have other qualities that come along with being human. We have instincts and intellect and ego, and we need to keep them all under control so that our soul, our spiritual nature, dominates our days. As Gurudeva says, peace is control and control is freedom. My reflections in dance and discipline were first shared in a 2003 talk I gave in California at an Arangetram, a young Hindu lady's first public dance performance. Her accomplishment inspired me to outline 5 ways that the attitudes involved in studying dance and the attitudes involved in striving to make progress on the Hindu spiritual path are indeed the same. Following Gurudeva's style, I took a practical approach to the subject. Afterwards, members of the audience came forward to express how applicable these insights were to their own spiritual quest. The dancer was Isan and Sundari's daughter, Vanita. Here's a photo of her dancing in Kauraval Temple. Oh, the question for you. What are the ways you can think of that the attitudes involved in studying dance and the attitudes involved in striving to make progress on the Hindu spiritual path are indeed the same? So the pub desk lists 5. Let's see if you can come up with at least 2, I would say. So they both require the same attitudes. Gurudev himself was in his youth an accomplished dancer. Years later, on special occasions, he would dance in the Indian classical Manipuri style. And when he spoke about dancing, he would regularly make the comment that in learning dance, you are expecting and in fact paying the dance guru to point out your weakest areas, not to compliment you on what you were doing well. As our Satguru, he was providing that same guidance in our spiritual life, and of course that's the same photo that was in the video we just saw. And as I say, we didn't coordinate. So that's Marianne Kusaka. For some reason, they got along very well. The mayor was supportive of our work, and Gurudeva was supportive of her work. And for those of you who don't know about Gurudeva's 72nd birthday party, it was a surprise to him. Not quite sure how he managed to keep such a large event a surprise. But he departed the Adinam in a helicopter and ended up at the Kilohana plantation. And there we all were. Surprise birthday party. It was a lot of fun. Let me close something here. Gurudeva's comment leads perfectly into our first comparison of the spiritual path to the study of dance, which is the attitude towards strengths and weaknesses. Does a young woman become a better dancer by focusing on the movements she does well? Of course not. She must focus on the movements she has not yet perfected and strive to improve them. She becomes a better dancer not by focusing on her strengths, but on her weaknesses. Looking at the spiritual path, let's take the example of someone who is happy to help coordinate activities at a nearby Hindu center. However, when she attends puja, she doesn't really feel much devotion for the deity. Her strength is service, and her weakness is devotion. To further advance, she needs to focus less on service and more on activities that will help her deepen her devotion, such as singing bhajans, growing flowers in the home garden for the temple, and sewing clothes for the deity. Second comparison is the attitude toward improvement. A good dancer has the attitude that she can always perform a dance better than she has ever done it before. She feels there's always room for improvement and her movements can always be further refined. Looking at the spiritual path, let's take as our example the principle of Ahinsa Non-Violence. It is indeed a central principle of Hinduism. Of course, most of us do not indulge in physical violence. Therefore, we may conclude that Ahinsa presents no challenge to us. However, let's look more closely at the definition, which is not harming others by thought, word, or deed. This clear and complete definition points out that even though we are not harming others with our actions, we can take the attitude of striving to improve our behavior even more by carefully watching our speech and avoiding harming others through our words. The most common forms of verbal violence are teasing, belittling, gossiping, and backbiting. Every reduction we make in harming others less through our words produces spiritual progress. Third comparison of the spiritual path to the study of dance is our attitude toward mistakes. Many beginning dancers are self-conscious about mistakes. They make a mistake and get flustered and can't concentrate on the rest of the dance class. What should our reaction be when we make a mistake? Give you a minute to answer that one. A good teacher will point out that such errors are natural. All dancers make them. With the teacher's encouragement, they overcome the fear of mistakes and take on a more mature attitude, which is, if they misstep during a difficult movement, they resolve to perform the movement better next time. Each mistake becomes an opportunity to improve their craft. So we learn from our mistakes. We don't get discouraged by mistakes. Mistake just means there's something we haven't learned yet. So we need to learn it. Very simple. For all of mankind, no matter where one is on the path, spiritual advancement comes from learning from one's mistakes in life. Unfortunately, this process is often inhibited by the wrong-headed idea that we are not supposed to make mistakes. Common first reaction to making a mistake is to become upset, get emotional about it, or, if it is a serious blunder, to feel burdened, even depressed. We need, however, to be like the dancer and simply resolve to do better next time. That's a good second reaction, is to think clearly about what happened and why, and to find a way to not repeat the mishap in the future. A fourth comparison is that dance, like spiritual practice, involves the disciplined control of willpower, awareness, and life force. In dance, willpower is used to move the body through the challenging positions in time with the music and with grace. Our awareness needs to constantly focus on the meaning of the song and how that meaning is being expressed in our facial, hand, and body language. Life force must constantly move through the body in a controlled manner. In fact, in teaching basic dance movements, Gurudeva would stress that first you move the life force, the prana, with your mind, and that prana moves the arm or leg. For the spiritual side of discipline control, let's look at the practice of meditation. Willpower manifests in our ability to sit in meditation without moving. We need to focus awareness constantly on the object of our meditation without letting our thoughts wander off into other areas. Life force is controlled through the process of pranayama, regulating our breath, and pratyahara, withdrawing our energies from the external senses into our spiritual center. A fifth and final comparison is that both dance and spiritual striving are non-intellectual. You do not become a good dancer through reading a book. Though some study is involved, the focus is on the actual practice of dancing. Our physical body is significantly changed and gains new abilities through the many years of practice required to become an accomplished dancer. Reading philosophical books is also part of making progress on the spiritual path. However, most important is the regular practice of spiritual disciplines. Our emotional, intellectual, and spiritual natures are significantly changed through performing sadhana for many years. Gurudeva's Satguru, Siva Yoga Swami of Jaffna, Sri Lanka, stressed this by telling certain devotees whom he saw spending too much time reading philosophy, "It's not in books, you fool." He urged them to sit, to be still, to control the mind. The disciplines of dance are well defined, and they include exercises in strength, flexibility, grace, and technique. Hinduism spiritual disciplines can also be broadly divided into 4 categories: good conduct, service, devotion, and meditation. In conclusion, we have looked at 5 ways in which the attitudes of mastering dance and progressing on the spiritual path are similar. An important area everyone can benefit from is improving our weaknesses. Applying this to your life by choosing one aspect of your practice which you feel you need to improve. Read that again. Apply this to your life by choosing one aspect of your practice which you feel you need to improve. For example, perhaps on some days you worship in the home shrine before leaving the home, and on other days you skip it. Resolve to become more disciplined and spend time every single day in the home shrine. Once you are regular in this practice, you have strengthened a weak area and made tangible spiritual progress, just as, little by little, a great dancer improves her performance. So that's the end of our first topic. Second topic is also about dance. It's a testimony from Hinduism Today. In my opinion, 2015, Bharatanatyam's Hidden Powers. More than art, Indian dance is a transformative personal discipline that elevates our society. This is Nikolina Nikolesky, 37, is a professional dancer and choreographer from Croatia who teaches Bharatanatyam, yoga, classical ballet, and contemporary dance at Nikolina Nikolesky Dance Academy in New Delhi. The decline of interest in classical Indian dance is a truly sad trend. The whole Bharatanatyam movement needs to go through a renaissance. We must educate everyone, especially the youth, to appreciate and understand the real value of Bharatanatyam. The whole process of learning of Bharatanatyam has opened new layers of my personality. I do things with more focus and concentration. Different mudras change the energies in your body. You experience this when you learn, train, practice, rehearse, and perform. I get this every day when I enter the studio and work on myself. Finally, when the piece is ready, it is chiseled and perfected. Then I can share it as a gift with the audience. What is most important is what happens inside me when I am trying to go into the characters which I have to perform. You imagine what happens in Mahabharata, the complexity of the characters and the story. It changes something inside you and how you deal with other people. Bharatanatyam has so many layers, psychological, physical, and emotional, which make it different from other dance forms. You perform, says Shiva, I'm not sure. Maybe it means if you perform Krishna's, if you are performing Shiva in a dance, you go through so many attributes and qualities. If it is Krishna or the gopis, you may be a woman, a mother, sister, daughter, and a friend. Bharatanatyam has that endless richness in which you keep discovering a new potential about yourself, about others. If we explain how Bharatanatyam has these values, I'm sure people will come back to it. Dance is a powerful personal discipline. The body tends to be lazy. It rebels, it does not listen, not in a mood, not so inspired. We fight every day to transcend our own instinctive nature. These are days you do not want to get up and are feeling tired. So the whole process is against your nature and you have to be in charge. It's a big challenge. You come to the class flat, lazy and tired, and then you overcome it all. You take command of your limbs, your arms, and everything. This gives immense empowerment, feeling that you are in charge of your destiny, your life, and handling the whole situation around you. Of course, that's an example of she's using her willpower and drawing on willpower to pull herself into a dynamic mood from a lazy mood. When you are dancing, you cannot think about cooking or other things. You are just there. Your whole focus is on your hand movements and abhinaya, acting. You feel every movement. So you get very sharp clarity of the mind. It is like yoga. Once you do sadhana and pranayama and you know the effect it has on your body, you will feel relaxed and focused. Instead of being addicted to, say, chocolate, when you dance and do yoga, you get happiness from your own body. It is a positive addiction. Your body creates hormones of happiness, the flow of adrenaline, the alertness of the mind. Every day through sadhana, you can get the same feeling. I would not say it is hard. I would say it is hard not to do it. Because once you have tasted it, you know what you are losing every day by not doing it. You know what exhilaration you have experienced before. That's what in Patanjali he calls experiencing the Purusha, or Atma. Once you experience it, then you want to experience it again. Classical Indian dance is the identity of the culture of the nation, and preserving it is the first duty of the people of India. It also gives so many values to society, creates elevated and alert human beings. If you are performing arati, chanting the name of Krishna, dancing for hours during the day, in the evening you are not likely to take drugs, kill people, or do or say bad things. Dance creates human beings who are more conscious and more aware, who are more compassionate and less aggressive. Thank you, Nicolina. Very nice.